Welcome to another episode of The Making of Champions, Season 5. We've had so many spectacular guests, and this guest right here is someone that really needs no introduction, but I'm going to introduce him anyway. His name is Coach Nick Dodson. He is the head coach at Southeastern University in Florida. And the thing about this guy right here, he's been winning. If you haven't been, he's been winning for a long period of time. So please welcome Coach Nick Dodson to the show.
I appreciate you having me, man.
Oh, anytime. Man, I'm going to take this back a little bit. You were at Thomas County High School. I think Coach Ward was the coach there.
Yeah, Coach Ward was the women's coach, and then Coach Al Hicks and David Johnson were the men's coach. But I was involved with Coach Ward throughout my whole high school career.
Okay. So now you graduate from Thomas County, then you get a scholarship offer from Shorter University, who were just starting their program. So you were the first signee?
I was the first signee in the history of the program.
And then, history wrote itself from what you've accomplished. Many of championships, going on to being multi-time All-American at Shorter University, and you move on and you get into this coaching thing. Well, first of all, before we go into the schools you've been at, what made you your calling to come into coaching?
I think my last year at Shorter. Coach Bird, who was our head coach, he was my mentor, and we had a really, really good year that year. He actually convinced me to come back. I was supposed to graduate in 2010. I had a redshirt year because when we started the program, we didn't have a lot of athletes. And so he came to me and said, look, man, I want to redshirt you for the future. I think by the time we get this thing built, I think we'll be in the hunt because he said we would win a national championship in 5 years. And I thought the guy was crazy. But he was like, man, he had a vision and he stayed to it. And so he convinced me to come back. I was set to graduate in 2010. And so I decided to come back for the last year. And then we ended up winning the indoor and the outdoor national championship at the NAIA level. And it was huge. It was literally the best part of my career because it was like the last year and I got a chance to see it all through and was injury free. And so throughout that process, he kept telling me I had all these great leadership skills, and a lot of my teammates responded to me, and I took constructive criticism well. And he said, hey, man, you ever thought about coaching? Because that part you have. Now, of course, in our sport, you need to learn the science behind things and things like that when it comes to putting workouts together and being strategic. And he said, but I think you'll have that because you already have this. And I said, man, I don't know, because I got my degree in media studies with a minor in journalism. So I always wanted to be like in front of the camera and, do things like that and covering sports. And so at the time, I didn't really have any offers and to do anything as far as that. And post-collegiately, he wanted me to keep running for a little bit, kind of see where it goes. And so that's what kind of led me into coaching. He after I graduated, he said, hey, man, I'm going to pay for you to go get your level 1. And when I got that in 2011 at Georgia State, and then kind of from there, just kind of watch how he did things. And that kind of led me into coaching. And I fell in love with it. And I'm still doing it now.
Okay, so let's say you left there, went to coaching. You were assistant coach at Florida Tech.
Correct.
And you started to help start the program, kind of?
Yes. Yeah. So in 2012, we started that program from scratch. So a guy named Pete Mazzone gave me my first job. He looked at me and said, hey, man, I got this certain amount of money for you. Ain't a lot, but if you want it, come on. And I was like, man, it's pretty awesome just to have that opportunity. And so I went and did that. And then we actually did really well. First 3 years, we had a few All-Americans at Division II level. And I started hearing a little float around that they might, close the program off, for finances and things like that. Once you start hearing those things, sometimes it's got a little truth behind it. And so that's when I decided to kind of look on elsewhere. And then I got the head coach, my first head coaching job at Bruton Parker in Georgia. And stayed there just for a little bit of time. Didn't stay there as long as I wanted to. My wife she's always worked with children with autism. And so she's a clinic director at an autism clinic. And in that area, they didn't really have anything that worked for her career. And so that's what moved me on to Loyola, New Orleans. And that's where I made my next move, head coach there. And we did very, very well. And I planned to have stayed there long term, but when the opportunity to come start the Southeastern University program from scratch really draw my attention because number one, once again, I started the program from scratch as an athlete. And so I've always looked up to my coach, Scott Bird, who's my mentor, and he started the program. And I said, man, this is an opportunity for me to kind of see this thing through and how he did it, but I was going to add my own flavor to it. And that's what really drew me here to Southeastern, but also too, it was a Christian school. I went to a Christian school as well. And then also it was close to family. I'm originally from Thomasville, Georgia. And so, Lakeland, Florida to Thomasville is not very far. And so it put me close to the family too. So that was kind of my string of jobs. And that's why I'm here now still.
Well, most people don't realize you are a 2019 NAIA Hall of Famer. Congratulations on that.
I appreciate it.
Well, it shows from what you've done at Shorter and all of the progress that you've made towards that program, Coach Bird. And then you transition that on into the coaching realm and done an excellent job with that. And you arrived there to start a program, like you said, and you get there, but then the second year, you're starting to make things go real fast. Most people don't get there and from a starter program and elevate a program that fast, and which accumulates from, let's see, 2005 years at that time. This is your 6th year now, if I'm correct. You've won 4 Sun Conference championships in that time. In 2021, you were the conference sponsored the indoor, and you won that at that point in time, and haven't lost one yet. And then 2022, you were 7th at the indoor championships for the men, and then came back outdoor runner-up. And then 2023, the first national championship, and just been on a run since then. This is a true essence of the making of champions. You start programs, and then you build a championship atmosphere. How was the structure for you of building a program, whether it's with the administration, through the staffing, and then recruiting the type of athletes you needed to be successful?
Yeah, no, it starts with the administration first. They've got to have a backing. I went in with a vision. This is actually one of the first places that actually kind of let me see my vision through. Of course, I'm going to follow the rules and regulations of our division, but also our university. But I wanted to be able to kind of see it through the way I wanted to do it. And this place allowed me to do that. And then, we build our program on relationships. People ask me all the time, how are you guys doing it? It's all about relationships in our program, because once, the student athletes see that I want to have a place in their life, I want to know what they have going on. I want to know about their family, how they're doing. I'm trying to pour into their life, and they're going to run through that wall for me because they know I'm going to do the same thing for them. And so once you've kind of got that built, the other stuff is easy, man, especially like you have a hard workout and I get in somebody's butt, they know that I care. And so once they see that, it's been easy road as far as making the adjustments that we need to make and everything along the way. Because like right now, we're ranked #1 nationally right now, yet I've graduated all of our pioneers that started the program with. So we have the new athletes that kind of lived on the tradition, never graduates. But that was our whole goal the whole time, is you guys will set the standard so we can continue it. And that's been the fun part, and just being able to have a staff that understands what the vision is and how we're going to get there. But I think the main thing for me, and what I've always wanted to do as a head coach, is my assistants always have a say. Like, we sit down and we talk, I want them to have a say, because the goal is for me, if I'm not working to get my assistants to become head coaches, if that's what they want to do, then I'm not doing my job. And so that is the ultimate goal, is for them to have a say. Now, ultimately, I'm going to make the final decision, but I want them to know that it's included. What they say is included, because a lot of times they make a lot of sense. Maybe there's something that fell through the crack that maybe I just missed, trying to have so many eyes in one place. So I think that's been the overall whole of why we've had the level of success we've had. And we have recruited very well, but we've also developed very well too. And I think that's been huge for us.
Okay. Now I want to go back to what you said when you were at Bruton Parker. a lot of people think that in this coaching realm, there's all about where that coach is going to align. But you kind of shifted towards what some people don't would think about. You really, with your wife and everything, taking in context of how we're going to have a family structure to where we're both successful and feeling the growth of what we're going to do and how to think. You made a choice, or y'all made a choice. I'm saying that.
Right.
Y'all made a choice to move on to where both entities, both parties will be able to benefit from that. How was that? Was it a scared type thing of like, okay, what's going to be next? Or how did that come into play?
Yeah, no, it was because I'm not gonna lie to you. At one point, I was definitely questioning whether I still wanted to coach. Because number one, you know what all comes with coaching, as you're a coach as well. It really can be a headache at times, but it also has a lot of good moments. But you know, the amount of travel, the amount of time that you're not around family, and you know, you're spend more time with these athletes than you do with your own kids at times, and so it's very timing and on the body, and you're just moving around, and a lot of times you're like, oh, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? We definitely don't do it for the pay. You do it because it's something that you love to do, and if the pay comes with it later, then of course that's a blessing itself. But you know, my wife still trains as well. You know, she's one of the best, you know, master track and field athletes in the world. She actually just ran 59.8 in the 400 hurdles this past weekend at USF, and that was a huge goal for us, coming back from her, you know, having our daughter in 2019, and we said, you know, we wanted to find out how can we spend more time together, and we went in and said, well, how about you just start back training again? And so boom, here we go, and now we're doing this. And so, but we've always had the goal is if you're winning, I'm winning, you're winning. And so if we're not winning together, where we're all getting it all at the same time, then we're not winning as a unit. And so, and she was always on board with that. But as a coach, whether you're male or female, if you don't have a companion that understands what you have to go through, your level of success will not be very high. There has to be some sort of an understanding and adjustment. And we've been able to do that. Not perfect, but just been different of how we've done it, and it works for us.
Well, I'm gonna go to a question I asked in my first season of doing this. I try not to revert back to old questions, but this is a pertinent time to ask this. Did you know going into that your second year there that team had what it takes to win the championship that year?
Yeah, no question. We saw it just from the camaraderie. We saw the talent, but it really wasn't even just the talent. Like that 2018 group, that's what I started the program with. That group really liked each other. And that was a big, big deal. I never had a team where that class, like everybody, like they weren't best friends, but like as a unit, they were literally one. And so when it came around to championships in year 4 and all that, and they already done been in the trenches together. You know, once you done been out in them trenches together, man, ain't no prelim round. None of that scares you. You know, you've been there. Like we get an injury in the 4x1, we can plug somebody in, and it's like we don't miss a beat. And it's because they all liked each other and they had good relationships with each other and they cared about each other. And that just made them show what their talent looks like even more on a broader spectrum. And so, yeah, we saw it even in year 1. I mean, we won the Sun Conference outdoor title in Savannah in year 1, men's and women's side. Men, I never think St. Thomas, Florida was ranked number 20 in the country at the time. And University of South Carolina, Beaufort in South Carolina was like number 8 on the women's side. And man, we went in there. I told them to go right from the start. I mean, I still remember one of my athletes showed me a video from our very first meeting. She took a video and I said, we're going to win a national championship in 5 years. Like I went in there with the same mindset that Coach Bird had. And she sent it to me like, I don't know, maybe a month or so ago. She's like, Coach, we thought you was crazy. But I think we had a goal and we stuck to it. Now I prayed on that thing. I was like, man, Lord, let us see this through. Let us see this through. Cool fact for you. Our 2018 class, every one of those kids that came into that class, man and woman, that stayed with us the entire time, they all won a national championship, whether it was a team title or an individual title or a relay title. Everyone in that class left with a national championship, and that was the goal for us to be able to say, you know what, you don't have to look back 10 years from now and said, man, I remember when we started this program, man, we were just a punching bag. We weren't good. They good now. No, we want you to look back and say, you know what? When they start comparing the next 2, 3 classes that were ahead of you, that's after y'all, they still got to mention y'all's name. And that's what should have been the goal. And that was the goal. And they were able to uphold that.
Now, coming from NAIA school, did you feel it was kind of difficult to get into certain meets that you wanted to get into? And then how did that build up from where you started from to where you are now?
Yeah, the first year it was because I was trying to get into some of the better meets, and we weren't established yet. And I didn't take it hard. You know, it was understandable. You know, some of these meets want to have good quality at their meets. They want to keep people coming to those meets. And you also don't want 500,000 flights of different stuff too. So I totally understood. But the people that did give us a shot, man, we respected like Dana Boone, love her to death. Dana Boone gonna let us in every time. She says, if you fast it could go, come on. And so she's been one of the ones that's always been extremely loyal to us. And we ran some of our fastest times ever at her place. Like I said, here the last couple of years, Eric Jenkins, he keeps letting us in. Let us in this past weekend. And our guys went down there and we ran 40.18 in the 4x1. And so he was like, man, you guys are just getting better. And we had a hurdler go 13.85, a freshman. And he's like, man, you guys will keep getting better. Hey, you're always welcome back here. And that's what we want, is just trying to set a standard for our program, but also show our athletes that, you know, it's not about the division, you know, and I have respect for all the divisions, 1, 2, 3. It's about where you're going to feel comfortable and you're going to get the best education for yourself, but also too, where you feel you have the most comfortable coach in your specific area, whether it's jumps, sprints, hurdles, throws, distance. So if you have that and you feel really good about that particular program and what you're going to be around, and hey, do what you need to do, because people like us, we're going to get into the bigger meets. So you're going to be able to run at those places anyway. So you need to do, you know, what you think is best for you. And that's what we've kind of sold in recruiting as well.
Well, this is going to be something to somebody might rub some people the wrong way. What do you feel made you the right fit for that university right now?
I think it's because of my drive and my energy. You know, having to start a program from scratch, man, I don't know if I'd do it again, because that there is very, very challenging, and it took a lot of hours. And we wanted to get the right kids in, because that first class really, really mattered. You know, we just didn't want to just bring anybody in because we needed to get numbers. And the university said we needed to get numbers, but I wanted to get the right numbers, because that was literally going to be our foundation. We were going to try to build around that group, bring more athletes in that favors that group, so that we can set ourselves up to graduate as many kids as we can graduate. We want them all to graduate. We want a high graduation rate, but we want to win as many championships as we can win too. But, you know, it's sort of like meeting somebody for the first time. The first impression is everything. That's what we thought with our first class. And I had the energy and the go-get to do that. I think I saw it as an athlete, but then I saw it again as an assistant coach. So I had been a part of 3 startups. And so once I kind of sold that to them in the interview process, I got the patience for it. I'm ready to dig deep. I think that's what was ultimately the difference. And I think just having a great staff, though, man, you know, I get a lot of credit, man, but a lot of them behind the scenes are really backing me and giving me the opportunity to lead the way I lead. And I give them a lot of assignments to do themselves, because like I said, I want them to be head coaches if that's their goal. And so I think we just, as an overall unit, being able to just spring those things off, and my administration and university sees that as well. I think that's what made me a really good fit.
Well, we're going to talk about that staff right now. When you were assembling, coming from a startup program, you know, assembling a staff, it's going to be crucial to the development of your program. What were you looking for? How did that come about to get the right keys to make the program, make your vision really, really accentuate itself throughout?
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, I wanted to get specifically one that I know that I can trust, that knows how I get down and how I move and operate. And so I went and got one of my best friends from high school. He's now a head coach somewhere else. So since we've been here, which is pretty cool, it's only my 6th year here, we've already lost 2 head coaches that are now head coach. I mean, 2 assistant coaches that are now head coaches. And so Chester Hightower was one of my best friends from high school. He ended up getting a head coaching job at Montreat, North Carolina. He is the one that I brought in as like my right-hand person to start it with. He knows how I move and operate. He knows what I'm looking for, what we're trying to do. And then that helped sprung on to the other staff that we got. But I've known him since diapers. So once we've known each other that long and been around each other and know the sport, that was the ultimate difference, because it was like I'm teaching, but his dude knows how I'm thinking. He knows how I'm moving and operating, and that was helped springing off to some of the others that we brought in as well. And then once he left, then I was like, we're good, because the other two that I have, they've been with me the whole time. So then we went and found and we got Terica Harris. She was at Marquette as a jumper. And she decided to come on to our staff. She was young. I mean, she did really good in the interview process. Didn't have any coaching experience, but very knowledgeable. I said, you know what? Someone gave me a shot one day. Come on in, let's do it. And then now she was with us for 1 year with zero coaching experience. She's now the head coach at University of South Carolina, Beaufort, Division II. So it's like, it's just really cool to see that, though, because it's like, when you sit down with them, and one of the first questions I asked them is like, what is your goal? And once they tell me, I was like, man, I'm writing this stuff down. I'm memorizing it, because now I'm going to put you in situations where it's like, all right, if you're trying to get to this goal, you got to be able to do X, Y, and Z, and trying to prepare them for it. And I tell them, look, don't be afraid to come to me and tell me you got an interview. I'm going to try to see if I know anybody over there. I don't want you to leave. It's just if we work good together, but I do want you to accomplish the goal that you want to accomplish, because that's exactly what I did. And so that's kind of how we did it. Is just, it was the relationship that I had with Hightower that just kind of sprung off, and we all worked well together.
That's a sign of a great leader right there. When you will have these staff members excelling out, be it how you producing them out and getting them prepared for their next opportunity. 1 year and then going over to be a head coach. That means they took in a lot of information that you gave them, and the opportunities to learn the different other elements. Because everybody thinks it's just coaching. There's a lot more than just going out there and doing the X's and O's. So you imparted a lot of knowledge upon your staff, and you see that they are going out there and producing for other head positions out there. So you've done a great job.
I appreciate it.
So let's talk about Southeastern University. What makes it so special?
I think it's a family environment that's extremely contagious and is built through Christ. And that's the one thing that I love about it. Like when you come to our campus and you visit it, it's a beautiful campus. It's got a great family feel. We're really good in pretty much every sport that we have at our school, which is really good. So it shows that the administration supports athletics. And so we've been very strong in the Sun Conference and nationally in all of our sports. And so, once the student athlete comes here, they see the environment, the professors here really love the athletes, which you always want to see. So they understand like our schedules, and there are times that class will be missed, but, as long as we're communicating, things work itself out. But that's the main thing I love. And in our location too, our weather is good almost all of the year, and it's perfect for our sport. You want to see more sunshine than a lot of cold. And so I think, that really draws a lot of student athletes here as well. And we have a lot of student athletes that reach out to us that have no clue that Southeastern is a Christian school. But once we kind of tell them and they come on to the visit and they're looking and like, man, I didn't expect it to be like this. Yeah, that's why we want you to come to campus. We want you to get a really good feel for the university, so you know what you're getting yourself into. Not just what we're going to do track-wise. That's going to take care of itself. We want you to see the overall whole of the university and of our program and see if we're the right fit for you. Because I tell recruits all the time, you're interviewing me, but I'm interviewing you. So,
this is a question that just popped in my head. So you've won. Some people try to have their goals set for what they want to accomplish. You've won conference championships, you won national championships. What's the bar? What keeps you motivated? What keeps you going? And is there something you're trying to achieve more?
Yeah. The main thing I want to achieve in our program is we're not finished until I feel like we're an absolute complete program. And what I mean by that is I want to have, for just one time in my career, men's and women's side, I want to have a qualifier in every single discipline at the national meet. Then I will feel like we have arrived. And we haven't quite got to that goal yet. And the staff knows how I feel about that. Like, everyone knows that we're a sprint and hurdle school. We hear it all the time, but we're also very good in the distance. We've had a national champion in the 10K. We've been national runner up in the 5K. We've been really good in the throws. We threw in the doggone hammer 65 meters, and we were national runner up in that. But we're just known for a certain area, and I'm okay with that. But I want them to see, when they see Southeastern, they're like, man, across the board, man, they are very good nationally in everything. And that's been my main goal. Is we don't have to necessarily be All-Americans or national champions in every discipline. That would be awesome too. But I want to be able to be at the national meet in every discipline one year. Just, we got a girl in the discus, weight, hammer, whatever it may be. Same on the distance side. And I feel like, we're going to continue to strive for that. And we want to make sure we're recruiting at a level that will help us do that. But most important, man, we want to be developing at that level. And we want to develop the mind, body, and soul of the student athlete, like not just what they can do athletically, making sure that they're good people, doing the little things right. You see a piece of paper on the ground, pick it up, even if it's not yours. It's the right thing to do. We feel like we do enough of the little things right, the big blessings come. So.
Well, now we're getting to this part of the show. We give some shout outs and stuff. There's some mentors that you've had. You already say Coach Bird, but you can elaborate a little bit more. But throughout this journey of being successful, you lean on people, you talk to people. Can you just shout out a couple of people who've been impactful for you in your journey through this coaching regime?
Yeah, definitely. My college coach, Coach Scott Bird, my mentor. It really means everything to me. He's the reason why I got into coaching and doing this at the level that I'm doing it. Took a lot of the things that he did and just really kind of added my own little flavor to it, put some things in my toolbox. Could call him right now and he'll answer the phone. And I graduated in 2011. And so that's what it's about, is the lifelong relationships of having that. Also, too, Coach Rochelle Black, he's head track coach at Lincoln Memorial in Tennessee. He's also the assistant AD. He was my sprint coach there. I actually talked to him on the phone today. He called me and asked me about a recruiting question. And so this, so many years later, just having those people in your corner that have supported you. And then, of course, my wife, couldn't do it without her just being in my corner. She don't miss a national meet. She's running at the meet we at, or she's there to support. And so all the athletes love her. They call her coach, and she ain't yet coached one discipline over there. But it's because of her appearance and being around and her positivity. They see that. And so, like, that's the main goal for us, man, is I try to bring my kids to practice. Not every kid in our program has had both parents in their life, or either parent in their life. And we don't do it perfect, but we want them to see somewhat of what it's supposed to look like, because we're trying to build good wives and good husbands. And so we want them to see that. You can't just tell them, they need to see it. Just like a kid can tell me they're going to win a championship, but I need to see it. So, it's all about what you can show me. And so my wife has been huge there. My parents, like I said, my dad, he came up to Florida State a couple of weeks ago, taking pictures for the program for us. It's just a whole village of people. My mom always calling me and staying on me. Even now, I'm married with children, and she's still calling and giving me advice and on my butt. But I've always told our athletes that your parents ain't gonna never tell you nothing wrong either when it comes to, life skills and things like that, because they have your best interests. And so those are definitely the main ones for me. And then all of my assistant coaches who keep me motivated, really, present and past. And I don't want to leave off, Chester Hightower and Terica Harris, because they played a big part of me continuing to grow as a head coach too, and making adjustments, because I'm not perfect. I've made mistakes since I've been in this program, because I'm going 100 miles an hour straight ahead, trying to put us in position. And you're always good to have that group that's going to pull you back, say, hey, coach, hey, kind of take a look at this now. We don't want to jump too quick. And it's huge, because that's what I need at times, but that's why we build it as a unit. And so those are the main ones for me that keep me grounded and motivated, and continuing to want to strive on this journey to win as many championships as we can, but the most important part for me, man, is I want a ticket to all my kids' graduation. I want to be at their weddings one day. And so that's the championship that I want more than just the national championship ring, if that makes sense.
Well, can you impart any knowledge onto young coaches, old coaches, in between coaches? You know, some things that you saw coming through, what you've experienced, that would help them make transition or be the better coaches and better, you know, for those assistant coaches trying to elevate themselves to head coaching positions. You know, some things that you've taken in, you've experienced, and that you want to make sure that they don't have to go through the same rough spots that you had to go through to get to where you are now.
Yeah. I think the main thing that I definitely would tell, especially the younger coaches and even some of the old school coaches, because I tell the old school coaches all the time, and we have one that's within our program, and I say, look, you have got to adjust with time. Like, we're in a whole different era of recruiting. We're a whole different era of how you move on social media with recruiting, all of that. Like, if you don't move with time, you will get left. And so, you know, for the old school coaches, I tell them that all the time. Look, I know it's a tough adjustment, but you got to move a little bit. Not saying you got to change all of your ways of how you do things, but you need to add some new things to the toolbox. Things, just because you've done something the same way for 25 years doesn't mean it was all necessarily right. It was just enough to get by. But sometimes enough to get by is not enough. And so, and for our young school coaches, I tell them too, is the main thing that I learned is don't have a hard head. I had a hard head at certain times when I was the younger coach and didn't make some of the adjustments I need to make, learning that you need to communicate more, ask questions. There's no dumb question when you're trying to go on a journey of success or learn your administration. You know, you need to ask questions because a closed mouth don't get fed. You know, if you need to go in there, you're the voice for your team. So if you know you want a bigger budget, it might be a no. But if you don't ask, it's definitely not going to raise. You know, you want to be able to go out and do the things that you want to do for the program because those kids don't have the voice that you're going to have up top. They're not going to meet with them. You think the athletic director is going to meet with 100 track athletes? No, but you're the voice for them. You want to go in there and say, look, I got this situation here. This is what I want to do. Here's my plan. He or she may say no, but it might be a yes in 6 months. It might be a yes next year, you know, and you have that in the back of your head. So just learning to communicate more, take constructive criticism. I had to learn to do that, you know, especially when you feel that your heart's in the right place and you feel that you're doing something right. And they may look at you and say, look, man, you're doing this all wrong. You can't take it personal, you know, really take a look at it, see how strategic it is, and just make the adjustments. But yeah, communication is the key and learning to adjust with time. I think if we can do those two things, I think you'll see yourself move towards the level of success that maybe you're looking for in the field.
Well, folks, man, you got a whole bunch of gems right there that just came from Coach Nick Dodson, you know, person who's won multiple national championships, multiple conference champions. So he is the epitome of the making of champions. I'm so happy that you decided to be on the show. You know, took me up on my offer. But I've been really trying to get you on before, but I've just been having little snags here and there. But I'm so glad that we were able to catch up, get you on the show to let everybody know who you are and about your program and how you have developed the programs from start to beginning, start to finish, to where you are now as a national champion, multiple national championship coach, multiple conference coach, and you know, epitome of why you were inducted into the NAIA Hall of Fame. So I want to thank you for being a part of the show, and I hope all of you took something from Coach Dodson, and then you take heed to what he said and how to develop your program to be championship programs and also have an understanding of your student athletes. So again, this is another season of the Making of Champions. Thank you and have a great day. Peace.